Okay, this last video is sort of the nuts and bolts, and uh, we went over assembly from packaging, but I'll go a little bit deeper into that, how it's put together, and if you do need to or are curious to look inside and see what's what. First things first, never ever open this up and dig inside without everything being unplugged. And even when it is unplugged, there are some capacitors that will retain voltage that can get you, and I'll show you where those are. So it is unplugged. We're using this pipe here as a kind of hood latch, and like I said earlier, it's sort of like opening the hood of an old car. You slide it forward till the edge of the top acrylic panel is about a third of the way back, or almost a half of the way back, and then it should kind of rest on itself. Now, I'm going to take the video and attempt to do this with my hands close up. So this is the motor, and if that does ever quit on you, motors have a certain amount of hours that they're good for, especially if they're not regularly oiled. This platter, by the way, it just comes on and off. It just sets on there. There's a centered hole, and when you're doing your scratching stuff with the can, also never ever lean this back unless the can is removed. Always take the can off before changing beats, changing the light bulb, whatever. Take the can off. So this platter comes off, just lifts off. If you put a little oil on here, or silicone, just a little, it can help this action be more slippy slidey, and it won't hurt anything. This is press fit on there. You can, if you do need to change the motor, is what I'm getting at. This thicker acrylic panel, you can, you don't want to just yank it off, but you can, with two hands and making sure you're not stressing this acrylic plate too much, you can pry that off. And then these 4 screws there, actually you wouldn't even need to remove those. If you want to change the motor, you would take this off, and then there's 3 little screws here, there, and there that release the actual motor, and then it'll just pull down, and the motor unplugs. All these light cells in each of the pipes and the motor and some other things have little plug-in cables in case things need to be changed in the future. So you got my phone number and all my info. If this motor does go bad for any reason, contact me, and I got a box of them. Hopefully you shouldn't need to replace these light cells ever, but if you do, like for instance, if some unknowing person comes and turns it on without the can and leaves the light blasting those CDS cells for an hour, it's going to heat up the power supplies in there until it starts compromising those cells, which will make them go bad, and you'll hear them start acting differently. Hopefully that never happens, but if it does, that's how you would remove these too. You would just pull out the pipe that's bad, unplug it, and then contact me and we'll figure it out. Other than that, everything else, I just want to go through and show the curious what's what. The danger zone is The danger zone is back here, and it says on there, and you can't see through all these wires, but high voltage. That whole board, this whole board in the back left-hand corner, that's the power supply board. That's converting the AC to the various DC voltages. There's plus and minus 12 volts and a 5 volt coming out of there. This, of course, is the light dimmer. This blue transformer here and the blue PCB there, that is what is transforming our 110 volt line, main line, into variable 0 to 15 volts DC for the motor speed. The motor is a permanent magnet motor that changes its speed in relation to the voltage that it's getting. So that's related to the motor, those two things. This board here in the close to you right quadrant, that's the delay, the classic PT2399 chip delay. And we've messed with that design a lot to get it to where I like it. This next board to the left of the delay, and your drum buddy, these might be in slightly different places, but they're all basically oriented the same. This middle board here is the phaser board, and that is related to the white pipe. That's these knobs there. Zip, bubble, zip, and splash. That's basically phasing speed, range, and width on the white oscillator. And then this board over here, if you can see through the mess of wires, that's the main motherboard for all the sounds. And I tried to color code, the wires aren't color coded, but I tried to put little dots of paint here and there indicating which parts relate to which oscillator. There's the white potentiometers that relate to the white noise, white oscillator. There's the yellow one that varies the pitch. Looks like I forgot to put a blue dot on the blue one. You just have to look at the top and it's pretty self-evident. But I did that mostly for me. When I'm working on them, I get confused. And like all of these plugs for the CDS cells, those are color coded on there to make it easy. If you do need to replace something, you don't get mixed up and confused when you have it open. And I think that's about it. I'm not going to go through every knob and switch because you can see it for your damn self. But that's, I think, everything you might need to know. Have fun.